Hi knitters, welcome to episode 205 of the Knitty McPurly podcast. I'm your host, Devin AT. You can find me at KnittyMcPurly.com. I am Knitty McPurly on Instagram, and if you want to email me, I am Devin at KnittyMcPurly.com. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for forgiving me for not being here last week. I'm really sorry about that. It's a crazy story. I will tell it at the end of the podcast. So since I wasn't here last week, I'll tell my own little crazy story, and I will still have a So Here's What Happened at the end. So thank you for joining me. I meant to kind of dance on. That was kind of my intention here. Check it. Do you recall the knitting fantasies that I had, not last week, but the week before? It was the Millie crop vest, and I totally made it. Now, this is as far as I got. I do want to talk about this a little bit. Should I talk about it right now? Let's talk about it right now. So I thought this was so cute and interesting, and it wasn't until literally just now that I realized that the model is 5'2". So at 5'8", you can kind of see how I am 6 inches short. But it ended up being kind of like a little bolero. It's just super cute. I'm kind of shocked that I got it done, but it is super bulky. Like super bulky for getting stuff done. Hard, yes. So this is as far as I got, but I do plan on doing the whole thing. Isn't it just so cool? So, and this is a little wonky right here. I don't know. I might be able to fix that. So this is St. Petersburg, super bulky in Jovis. And so far I've got Trinket and Dusty. But like I said, I do plan on working my way over. Couple things about this pattern. It's not professionally written. It's very there's only one size. She says things like, if you want it to be bigger, just add a few stitches. She doesn't have like a schematic. There is a back panel length and a width across given in inches. She does have the gauge listed. Now, that said, and I do think it maybe should be a free pattern for that reason. But that said, I really feel like this is a piece of art. So it called for a 15 millimeter needle for this, which is a US 19. No, I'm sorry, that's what she used for the ribbing. For the body of the sweater, she used a US 25, which is a 25 millimeter needle. So you can see how loose the gauge is. And here's a close-up picture from the pattern. The gauge is very, very loose. Now, I did not have those needle sizes, and so I just used what I had and kind of winged it. I used a US 15. I don't even know what the millimeters is on that, but I used that. And I knew going in that I was gonna have to adjust it and add rows and add stitches to make it fit. And so that's what I did. And I knit it to this length, but it could have been a little bit longer. I don't know, whatever. So I did change it a little bit, but last night, what she says is that this is like a half duplicate stitch. And she has this like stellina that goes through it. And so I got this on Amazon, and I was doing this last night. And it looks a little bit different because my gauge is so much tighter, but isn't it so cool? It turns a knitted garment into like an art piece. I think this is gonna be amazing when it's done. I'm so excited for it. Like I said, this is just as far as I got, but I feel like, and this, like while I say the pattern is not professional, it is the art. Like the fact that she thought to use, you can see the sparkle in there. And this is just what I use, but I think it's pretty much the same thing. It's just, that's so creative. I would not have come up with that. I just think it's genius. The end result is going to be so much more of an art piece than just a knitted sweater. And a knitted sweater is an art piece on its own. So all that as a way of introduction. It is super cold here. It's like 20 degrees. I think the high for today is 38, which I absolutely love. I think it is just so great. It's just what I want. Now, I think this week it's gonna get hot and rainy and just bleh. So very happy for this, what we have right now. Thank you all for your patience in me getting out my Black Friday orders. It took me the full 2 weeks to get them all out. I have one left, and I have spoken to that person about why that one hasn't gone out yet, but all of the others have shipped. So I'm so glad. It was a lot. I really appreciate you guys being patient about it, because as soon as I print out like the shipping label, you get a notice, oh, it's shipped. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it shipped, it just meant that I printed out the shipping label. So sometimes then there's gonna be a lag if it was a pre-order. So also, we are 2 weeks into our advent calendars. Oh my gosh. I really haven't been on Instagram. I haven't checked out the hashtag. I'll go and check it out right now in my editing process to see what you guys have posted. I know a lot of people just opened them all up, but many of you are going day by day. So I hope you love it. I love it. I can't wait to see what you have made with the advent calendar. I feel like we're officially into progress and shop news, so let's just lean right into that. If you are a member of the League of Extraordinary Sock Knitters, the very first package will ship on Monday, December 16th, and those will be here, in time for you to cast on your socks on January 1st. It's amazing. It looks so good. I can't wait for you guys to get your box and open it. And I don't want to overhype it, but it does not disappoint. Like, it is just so good. Also, the Christmas yarn bundles are on sale. I have those all ready to ship. They will ship immediately. I think I'm sold out of the 100-gram skeins, but I do have the 50-gram skeins in both the classic Christmas and the more modern, fun Candy Pop Christmas. If you wanted 100 grams, you could just buy 2. It's not more expensive. You just get, 2 skeins instead of 1. If you're on the fence, go get one because they are on sale. So Charlotte's birthday was last week, and I gave her her vest, and she opened it and she was kind of like looking at, there's her vest and Tom's vest, and she's kind of like, what is this? And I was like, do you know what that is? She's like, I have no idea what that is. And so I got Tom out and I was like, it's Tom's vest. And she was just so excited. I thought I put the picture on Instagram in case you saw it there. But yeah, it was a good day. It turned out really good. Okay, finally, the last thing I want to talk about is my Traveler Shell. So I cast on the Traveler Shell by Andrea Mowry, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. And I started knitting it in the stitch pattern that the sweater calls for. And I felt like it wasn't an enjoyable stitch pattern to knit. It just wasn't fun. I was not having fun. So I thought I had such a good time knitting the Timbo vest, and the broken rib pattern is so easy and fun that I thought, what if I ripped back my Traveler Shell and instead I worked it in a broken rib. So that's what I did. I ripped it out, and I've already gotten now further than where I was before. So this is technically the right side of the broken rib. And I do think I'm gonna keep this as the right side. You can see the regular ribbing on the bottom and then the broken rib here. Now the wrong side is also really cool. That's really cool too. I have thought about making the side that's technically the wrong side, the right side, which I could do. I don't need to really decide right now. What I could do is put the seams on one side, but make them look really clean and nice so that I could wear it reversible. But there's pockets, but the pockets could be on the inside. I don't know. So I did just what the pattern said for my size. I think I'm making the 3rd size of the traveler shell. And then I just changed the stitch pattern. And it's all gonna be fine, folks. It's gonna be fine. So that's been really fun. It's gone from something that I thought I might rip this out, I'm not really interested in this, to this is fun, I'm enjoying working on this. So you can do that if you want to. Okay, comments section. Here we are at the comments. These are now from 2 weeks ago because I didn't have a podcast last week. Again, I'll tell that story in just a minute. Tammy said, thank you, Devin, for reading my story. You had such kind words. You and Stephanie would have been fast friends, and it would have been very entertaining to watch both of you. I am sure that that's true, Tammy. I told Tammy's story 2 weeks ago on episode 204. If you missed that, go back and listen to it because it was a great one. Christina said, I was one of the time setters, referring to the getting online to order the sock club. That being there right on time got people into the sock club because it was sold out in 45 minutes. She says, I ordered the book right after I knew I was in. You convinced me that I needed to go lightly in my life. Thank you for the generous Black Friday discount. I enjoy your upbeat podcast on Saturdays. I'm usually cleaning while I listen to make the drudgery go more quickly. Awesome. I am so happy that I could help you out on that front. Lycopodium obscurum said, Gretchen, hi Gretchen, said, praise God for answered prayers. So happy to hear your dad's surgery went well. I will pray for your father-in-law as well. Tammy's story had me in tears, but I love the hopeful image of all of us in heaven knitting while waiting to see Jesus. Wouldn't that be just like God to arrange it all for us? I loved my order, especially the Sanctum hand balm. That scent is amazing. Awesome. Yay. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you liked it, Gretchen. All right. I feel like we are just speeding along today. Here we are at Knitting Fantasies. And I only have one pick for you. You can tell that I am super into the chunky knits right now. They are just flying off my needles. Now this is a my husband is calling. Hold on. My husband is at Costco and had a very important maple syrup question. Anyway, back to Knitting Fantasies. Today I have a pick by Brenda Lamb, who I think is adorable. Like, she just looks so millennial and cute and I just love the stuff that she does. This is called the Happy Hygge vest, I believe is how you say that word, that was super popular a couple years ago and I never really learned, but these patterns are still around and they're still really great. Happy Hygge vest. It is, did I write this down? It's super bulky and it's just so cute. It's got texture. It's kind of like the one that I'm wearing right now, except it's a pullover. It's got colors in different places and it's got some texture. I would absolutely knit this. Her patterns are a little on the pricey side, probably because she can get it. Like, if they're really cute and people want them, they're gonna pay $8 or $6 or $3 or $10 or whatever it is that she's asking. So fair enough, Brenda. I think I just said that I only had one pick, but that was a lie because I had two. The second one is also by Brenda Lamb, and this is the Ottawa Jumper. Again, it's chunky, looks to me like super bulky, could be regular bulky, with the big puffy sleeves and all the texture and the colors. Love it. It's a little pricey. This one is $11 unless it's on sale. I haven't looked recently, but so cute. If you want to knit for a young person, I recommend a pattern by Brenda Lamb because this is the kind of things that the kids like. So anyway, all right. So here's what happened. Before I get to the lovely story that was sent to me by a podcast watcher, I just want to take a minute to tell you about my lack of a podcast last week. So here is the tea. Last week, not this past week, but the week before, I had 1 million orders. 1 million. Thank you again, by the way. Thank you. Not possible without you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But I was working really hard to get these orders out. I mean, I was up at 4 every morning, and I would work until 6:45 when I had to get my kids going, and we'd homeschool, and then it was work, and then dinner, and then more work, and I'd go to bed. And it was like, and you can do anything for, any amount of time, right? For some short amount of time, whatever. You can get up at 4 and, work yourself into your bed at night. Like you can do that for a week or 2 weeks. So, so it was all fine. It's all good. It builds character really to work that hard. So then through this time, my father-in-law is not well. And, we don't really know the extent of how not well he is. So my sister-in-law, my husband's sister, takes my father-in-law, so his daughter, takes him to the doctor on Wednesday. And that they take his blood and do his blood work and send him home. And so that night they call him and say, you have to come and be admitted into the hospital. And my father-in-law's wife, which is my stepmother-in-law, she has primary lateral sclerosis, I think is what it is. And so she doesn't get around very easily. She can't stay home by herself because if she fell, she can't get back up again. Someone needs to be with her. And so my father-in-law is very upset, like, what am I going to do? And my sister-in-law was going out of town. And she has a great big house with lots of extra rooms. And so we have a good size house too, but we have a lot of people who live in our house. And so on the bottom floor of our house, we have like what would be considered an in-law suite, but we don't use it like that. That's my office. And I have all of my yarn there, and I have all of my shipping supplies, and I'm entrenched, like I am in deep. But we realized not only was my stepmother-in-law going to have to come and stay with us, and she can't do the stairs, so she was going to have to stay in that room, but also I was getting up at 4 a.m. and working to get these orders out. So this is Thursday morning, okay, and I'm sitting on the couch. Charlotte and I are doing our homeschooling, and we're reading a book. And my husband calls and he says, this is happening. So Charlotte and I had about 3 hours to move all of my office, all of my yarn, all of my supplies, everything to the basement, which is where my studio is, my dye studio. So we do that. And it's a mess. I mean, stuff is everywhere. I don't know where it is. Things are all over. I mean, Charlotte was helping, but she just turned 10. So there's only so much help that she can give. And even some things I'm not able to, some of the furniture, like I can't get it down the stairs in time. But I got a portable bed set up for her, and then the bathroom is right there and everything. So we got it set up so that when she got there, she didn't even really know that this happened. And she was able to stay with us. She stayed with us for 6 days. But it was stressful because I was managing my own life, which was already kind of up to here, and then add on the care of someone who needed a lot of care. And so last Saturday, I prepped the podcast that I just delivered just now, and I got all ready and I sat down, I was ready to do it, and I had nothing. Like, I was like, I need to go to sleep right now. And so, but I was last Saturday was kind of a stressful day. Like it was kind of just the culmination of many things. Anyway, I'll tell you that my father-in-law was in the hospital for several days. And when you go to the hospital and you haven't been to the doctor or taken any medicine, they find stuff. So, he's at home now, but I think care is going to be ongoing for him. So things have returned to normal around here. Today, my husband and I are having our day of togetherness because it's been such a crazy past month. He was at the hospital like all day, every day. And I was here all day with my stepmother-in-law and my kids and driving, and it was a lot. So anyway, that's what happened about the podcast last week. And I felt bad. I did put up a post that said there wouldn't be a podcast, but I asked my mom and she said she couldn't see it. I feel like they should show it where the podcast would be. Like wherever you would see the podcast, that's where the post should be, but maybe that's not how it works. But I also put it on my website, so you can always look there if you're like, is Devin still alive? Why is there no podcast? I'm probably still alive. So anyway, I also have a story from a podcast watcher named Janie. Hi, Janie. Thank you so much for sending this wonderful story. Janie uses words here that I don't know. Like she references things I'm not familiar with. So if you're familiar with them, great. If you're like me and you don't know them, that's okay too. Janie says, and there's no preamble. She just jumps right into it, which I love. She goes, so I was listening to NPR. Interview with the guy that wrote Bad Monkey. It caught my interest. And I'm like, okay, here we are. We're off to the races. I don't know Bad Monkey, but maybe you do. So she says, it caught my interest because the story is set in Miami and Key West. My husband is from South Florida. And we also met, dated, got married, and lived in South Florida for our first 4 years together. Then the interviewer talks about the book having been made into a series and is on Apple TV. Speaking of series that are now on Apple TV, I did this last night while catching up on the Silo series. I got Apple TV just for that. Is there anything else good on Apple TV? If there is, let me know, because I started watching another show and it's just trash on trash. I like non-trashy shows. So far, Silo's okay. We'll see. The jury's still out. Anyway, so I get home and I find the show on Apple TV. I'm either knitting or weaving on my rigid heddle loom as I watch TV. So in this instance, I'm happily knitting away on a pair of socks. She says, I sort of knit my socks 2 at a time, sometimes toe up and sometimes cuff down. This particular pair was cuff down. So this story is especially interesting because she is knitting them 2 at a time. Anyway, she says, okay, I knit the cuff on the one and then I start the cuff on the next. Oh, I see. Then leg color work, then leg color work, heel, heel, you get the picture. So are you doing them, Janie, on 2 separate needles, but you're just doing them a little bit at a time? That is such a good idea. I love that idea. Because you don't get second sock syndrome. Smart. Okay. Janie says, I'm fully into the show and I'm working the heel on the first sock. And it is a new to me heel. It's the Butterfly Heel by Kay Jones. It worked up beautifully. Next day, watching more Bad Monkey, working on the heel of the second sock. Get all the way through the first part of the heel, turn the heel, finish it up, pick up the first sock to start on the foot when I notice the blunder. Who has not done this? Who has not done something like this, right? Especially when there's 2 of them, even if you are doing them kind of 2 at a time, still, I feel like it's an easy mistake to make. This is a very relatable story. So she says, I guess you can tell which team I am on. The error does not bother me enough to rip it out. And I figure anyone that notices that my heels don't match should probably not be that close. That's awesome. My modern rainbow socks have 2 different heels. And I can't remember why I did that. I feel like it was a similar thing to you. I think it was, I was out and I was knitting them and maybe I didn't have the second one with me because I would knit the full sock and then the second full sock. But I think I'm going to try your way going forward. Cuff, cuff, leg, leg, heel, heel, foot, foot, toe, toe. Because then it would feel like you're doing it 2 at a time. Why did no one ever think of this before? Janie, you are a genius. Thank you so much for sharing that wisdom with us. If you have a knitting story, send it to me, Devin at KnittyMcPurly.com. This has been great. It's been like catharsis because it has been such a crazy, this past week was like it was a total Zen week because the week before was so crazy. My stepmother-in-law went home on Tuesday. I forget. I don't know. But once she was settled back at home, it was like everything could go back to normal. You know, and it's delightful to have your family come and visit you, but it also kind of upsets the apple cart a little bit, especially when the apple cart is going 500 miles an hour and it only has 3 wheels as it is. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will be back here again next week on December 21st. Bye, knitters.